Welcome back to Wellness Wave Radio. Thanks for tuning in this morning to ride the wave with us. Each week our goal is to give you at least one suggestion that will make your life a little better. My name is Phil George. I'm a clinical biochemist, a certified personal trainer, and a health coach. Please remember that everything we discuss in the show is for informational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. Always seek the guidance of your medical professional. Before I forget, let me get this. We have a seminar coming up, and that is on Sunday, June 29th, and that's on 184 West Boylston Street. And I'm teamed up with an ICU nurse, and she's also a holistic nutritionist. Her name is Kelly Hamilton. And the seminars are a little different. We run kind of like game shows. In fact, if you email me, philgeorge@charted.net, and we'll have your name, we'll put it into a hat. You have a chance to win gift cards to New Kitchen, one of the healthiest restaurants around, in my opinion. But the other thing is, again, we ask questions, people get involved. Kelly and I, the last seminar, we ran for an hour from 10:30 to 11:30 on Sunday. But we also did is we hung around an hour afterwards, answered a bunch of questions. So if you have any kind of questions about your health, nutrition, exercise, again, we're there. We're happy to help you out. One of the things, I have something called my four pillars of health. A lot of people, have this, but one of them is basically nutrition. Obviously, what you eat is really important. The other expression is you are what you eat, which kind of makes sense. Other one is exercise. It's important to exercise for obvious reasons. One of the big problems with people as they age, they develop a condition called sarcopenia. All sarcopenia means is a wasting away of the muscles. In fact, they've done a study and they found out the reason that people fall when they get older is not because they lose their balance, that's a little bit of it, but because their muscles are so weak they can't hold them up. In fact, good example, I went into this restaurant about a month ago, and one of the rugs was kind of like up, and I kind of hit myself on the rug, and I started to fall, but I have enough muscle mass to hold me up. But if I had sarcopenia, wasting away the muscles, I'd fall down. The other thing is, if your muscles are weak, probably your bones are weak too, and they found out you fall down, you break your hip, you're going to be incapacitated. In fact, they found out most people die within a year after. In fact, I had a physical therapist on my show, and he also confirmed this, that you don't want to be breaking bones. So exercise is important. The other one I'm going to talk about the third one is what they call community. It's really important to be around other people. My joke is we're really smart monkeys. In fact, I was mentioning I was doing a walk and talk with somebody who's on my show. He's worked at Google and all these places. He's a big tech guy, has a big tech thing. So we throw around these different things. So, and I mentioned to him why community is so important. And again, I'm a biochemist. I want to know why these things happen. And so I said to him, we're really smart monkeys. Like 99% of our DNA is the same as a chimpanzee. So the only thing we got going for us that the chimp doesn't have, we got the bigger brain. But the thing we have in common, if you go back to our caveman days, we existed in groups of about 10 to 15 people. We were in a group and we hunted together like that. And we'd have one tribe maybe fighting another tribe, but chimpanzees are the same way. They exist in relatively small groups. And I also mentioned to him, one of the things, if you think about it, what you have, let's say you have in the jungle, you have a leopard and you have a chimpanzee. If a leopard attacked the chimpanzee doesn't have much of a chance. But since the chimpanzees stay in groups of 8, 10, whatever, let's say 10, make it easy, the leopard's not going to attack them because the 10 chimpanzees are going to win against the leopard. Again, when we existed, we've only been like this for the last 100, 200 years. Before this, we were very much in groups. We lived in groups. So it's hardwired into our brain, into our subconscious. We feel comfortable when we're in groups. We don't realize it, but we're afraid of that leopard attacking us. But if there's 8 or 10 of us, we can fight off that leopard. So it's kind of hardwired. This is what they call evolutionary biology, to where we're really hardwired to do that. We're also hardwired, not to die and to reproduce, but that's the other one, is to feel safe. So we don't feel safe unless we're really around a lot of other people. Other thing before the show, Art and I were speaking, and the other thing is it also helps you because You're with other people, you feel safe, so it reduces your cortisol, your stress hormone. And it also, you interact with people, you just feel better. In fact, it's funny, I go to the gym almost every day, but one of the things I like about the gym, in addition to working out, is I have a lot of friends there. So we spend a lot of time just talking, just fooling around. And you know, if you're fooling around, and you know, what's the old expression, laughter is the best, we laugh and we joke around. So being around other people are important. So those are the three. The fourth pill we're going to talk about today is sleep. Sleep is so important. In fact, the number one priority I give myself is sleep. I go to the bed at the same time and I get up pretty much at the same time. It's called circadian rhythm. But a lot of people, one of the big problems people have now is good sleeping. In fact, Art and I were talking. He's got the Apple Watch. I got the Oura Ring, and what it does is it measures my sleep. So when I wake up every morning, I look at my sleep scores. So you have different sleep scores. You know, most people know about REM sleep, which is dream sleep. Where they can tell you sleep because your eyes are moving, or you probably saw with cats and stuff where they're moving their feet and they're running away from something. That's REM sleep, where you're sleeping and you're dreaming. The other one is there's light sleep. There's 4 stages, but the big ones are really you need the most of is the REM and the deep. So all of these devices, the Apple Watch, my Oura Ring, Fitbit, they all measure that. So I look at that and I want to see exactly why, what's going on. And if the score is 100, you get 100, it's perfect. You get a 90, they give you a little crown, it means you've done good. So I look at that and see what's going on. If I see any of my scores, my sleep score below 70, I'm thinking, what have I done wrong? The thing I'm most interested in is basically what's called deep sleep. And the reason for that is they've done studies on people that come down with Alzheimer's and dementia and even Parkinson's. And what they found is these people don't get enough deep sleep. They're all important, but deep sleep's the most important. And the reason is what happens during deep sleep, people know you got your brain, you got your spinal cord, and basically your spinal fluid, and it goes up into your brain and it bathes it and it goes around and around. So your brain is basically bathed in this spinal fluid. But what happens is you have a part of your brain, it's called the glymphatic system, not to be confused with the lymphatic system, which is an L, it's a G, the lymphatic system. So what happens during deep sleep, because what happens, just like your muscle, you're going to produce a lot of toxins and waste products. So there's something called DOMS if you work out. It's called delayed muscle onset soreness. So if you ever done a really hard workout and the next day your muscles are all sore because you have a lot of toxins in there, and what happens is your body's got to clean yourself out of those toxins. Your brain works exactly the same way. Your brain is building up these toxins in your brain. You've probably heard of amyloid plaque and tau tangles, which is what they find in people that have Alzheimer's and dementia. So think about your brain kind of like a muscle, in that if you keep getting these toxins built up, your brain's not going to be able to your neurons going to be able to fire back and forth because it's got all this waste product and all these toxins. So what happens during deep sleep, the glymphatic system opens up and it bathes your brain in this fluid, this glymphatic fluid, and it cleans out the tau tangles and also the amyloid plaque. So I've seen pictures before of an MRI of a brain, before it gets cleaned out by this glymphatic system and after. So, and obviously the other thing is you're not going to function very well. If you've ever tried to basically go a long period of time, go without sleep for a period of time, your brain is just not working. You've got brain fog, because you got all this gunk in there, and your neurons can't fire correctly. So that's the reason why you want to have sleep. So that's the reason why. Now let me get into some things you can do in terms of get better sleep. The number one problem a lot of people have is it's something called circadian rhythm, and that we're basically, again, we're smart monkeys, we're tied to the sun. So a lot of people don't know this, but what happens when this, most people have heard of melatonin, the sleep hormone. So what happens is in the morning when you first wake up, if again imagine you're a caveman or cavewoman, you're back in the day. When you wake up, the sun's high in the sky. The sun gives off different wavelengths of light. So one of them is called blue light. So blue light is when the sun is first up, first thing in the morning, it gives out mostly blue hues of light. So that goes into your brain and it tells your brain to shut down the melatonin, the sleep hormone, okay? It also tells your brain to ramp up what's called cortisol, which is it's the wake-up hormone. In other words, you get a little bit stressed. You heard about cortisol causing stress. Not all stress is bad. You need stress to basically wake up, get around. So again, put yourself back in the caveman days. You wake up in the morning, you're going to go out there and hunt the woolly mammoth to get some breakfast or to do something. You need the cortisol. So that blue light coming from the sun tells you that, shuts down the melatonin and also increases your cortisol or basically your wake up hormone. The other thing another one of these hormones that you have in your body is something called adenosine. Adenosine is what they call the sleep hormone. So in the morning, your adenosine levels are very, very low. But what happens is as the day goes on, your adenosine levels go up and up and up, and that makes you sleepier and sleepier. So as your adenosine levels rise and your cortisol levels go low, you get ready for sleep. What a lot of people don't realize, that's all caused by the sun's rays, what particular hue they're in. So as the day goes on, the sun, as it goes to the middle of the day, it changes from a blue hue to a red hue. And at nighttime, the sun is at the highest level of red. So as the day goes on, it's signaling your body to basically, again, to increase the adenosine, the sleep hormone, because you're going to sleep at some point, and to also increase the melatonin, the sleep hormone. So at night, basically, those levels should be the highest. Now the problem is these blue lights I have all around me right now, that's telling my brain basically that it's daytime all the time, because the blue light's telling me, again, I'm a smart monkey, it's hardwired into the brain. This is what's telling me. This is my circadian rhythm. So what a lot of people do, I should have brought it with me, it's something called blue blocking glasses. And what they do is the blue light that's coming in, it changes it to red. So what I do is before, towards evening, before I go to bed, I'll put on these blue blocking glasses, because in my house I've got LEDs. You guys probably remember the old incandescent bulbs. Those are like more, it's a complete wavelength. It's some red, there's some blue. Unfortunately, Massachusetts banned all of these blue lights, all these incandescent lights, because what they wanted to save money, because obviously these wear out quicker than the LEDs. But the LEDs is totally void of any type of red light, which goes to your brain. You need it. In fact, what they found is, you guys probably heard of macular degeneration, to where you can go blind from that. They did a study back before Edison invented the light bulb, and they found out there was literally 0 cases of macular degeneration, because we weren't exposed to all of these constant blue light all the time. My phone has blue light, everything has blue light on it. So it's telling our brain that we're awake all the time. So what do most people do, okay, during the day? They're looking at their phones all the time. They're watching TV. In fact, a lot of people, before they go to bed at night, they'll watch TV. It's all blue light going in there. And it's, again, you're shutting down your melatonin, to where you basically, that's your sleep hormone. You can't do it. So that's one of the problems. So the first suggestion, you can feel free to email me, Phil George at Charter.net. Email me, and you can get this off of Amazon. Amazon. They're called blue blocking glasses. So it blocks out the blue light. So maybe a few hours before you go to bed, put on these blue blocking glasses. If you're looking at your computer, again, you get the blue blocking. In fact, my son is in tech, and he wears this, because the other thing, you can have eye fatigue. A lot of people don't realize it, but a computer screen actually flickers. So does your TV. You can't see it, But what happens, your eye can't see it, so you get a lot of eye strain by looking at it. So these blue blocking glasses kind of blocks that flicker. So if you're ever a tech person, that's one hint, and they're relatively inexpensive. What I like about blue blocking glasses, it's one and done. You buy it once, you never have to buy them again. So easy fix right there. The other thing, again, because we're tied to a circadian rhythm, you should not eat within 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. And this is the reason why. If you're eating, all the blood goes to your stomach, comes out of your brain, okay, because it has to digest the food. You can't get into your brains, and it's telling your brain, it's not time to go to sleep. We have to use this blood to digest it. So try to go at least 2 hours before you go to bed, minimum 2. If you can go 3, it's even better. I hate to give people absolutes. I like to call it baby steps. So let's say for some reason you like to eat an hour before you go to bed, okay? Let's try to make it an hour and 15 minutes before, then an hour and a half. Just slowly back off. But if those are 2 hints, the blue blocking glasses and not eating before you go to bed are going to make a huge difference in terms of people having trouble sleeping. The other thing is, again, with the eating part, is by not eating, again, you're giving your body a chance to start winding down, because by eating, again, you're secreting a lot more cortisol and things like that. The other reason you may not want to be looking besides the blue light, if you're watching TV, you could get stimulated, again, releasing cortisol. Cortisol should be at your lowest before you go to bed, and it should be at the highest when you wake up, because that's the reason why. If you've ever gotten like a really bad message or something on your phone right before you go to bed, you probably had trouble sleeping because it's ramping up your cortisol, your fight or flight hormone, okay? So you want to really start winding down before you go to bed, because again, we're ruled by the circadian rhythms and from our hormones. The other thing you want to do, again, we're smart monkeys. We're tied so much to the earth, to nature. You want, in terms of sleeping, you want your room temperature to be in maybe the high 60s. Again, going back to our evolutionary days when we were Neanderthals, is basically you're outside, your body knows that it's getting cooler, it's time to go to sleep. And if it's warmer, it's telling your body it's time to get up. So you may want to basically cut down, keep your temperature low, as low as you can. The other thing that I wear every night, you guys have probably seen these sleep masks. Again, you can email me, philgeorge@charter.net. I have a good one that I use. Even though you go to sleep, and you want to keep, the other thing, because of light, you want the light to be as low as possible. So you want your room to be very low on light. Like if you have like a alarm clock by your bed with light going off, even if your eyes are closed, the light still penetrates through there, and it still tells your brain that it's kind of daytime. That can interfere with your sleep. So you can get these eye masks. Again, one end on your buy it once. Wear the eye mask because it blocks out all the light coming into your eyes. So so your body knows that it's time to go to sleep. So these are little, what they call biohacks. These are biohacks you can do. So again, 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, don't eat. Try to cut out the blue screens if you have to watch blue screens. In fact, with my iPhone, it's something called a night shift, and I have that on, and you can set it by the time. In other words, as it gets, let's just say you go to bed at 10 o'clock, you could start setting it to the blue light to maybe about 8 o'clock to start winding it down. So even if you're looking at it, you can also do that with your computer. There's a lux thing you can put on your computer that changes the lux. So what I do on my computer, I have it on blue when I wake up, and as I'm towards the evening, it shifts over to a red hue, so it doesn't mess up my eyes to think it's daytime. It's daytime all the time. So those are again some things you can do. The other thing, and they're all over the place now, but you may want to look at getting like either an Oura Ring or an Apple Watch. There's tons of these devices that will measure your sleep. I like to say you can't change what you don't measure. So you want to know what's going on with your sleep. Your sleep is so important. And the other thing it does is you have to sleep because it helps build up your immune system. So what happens, you should sleep at least 8 hours a night. Everybody's a little bit different. Let's just say 8 hours. That's kind of the standard. Again, to go through all of those cycles, your REM sleep, your deep sleep, and your light sleep, all those, that takes 90 minutes to go through all of those cycles. So that's the reason why, and you want to go through those cycles consecutively. And of course, if you can't sleep that well, it's not a bad idea to try to take a nap now and then because you can make up for it. Some of the time when my Oura Ring tells me I didn't get a good night's sleep, what I'll try to do, I'll try to take a cat nap somewhere during the day. Again, I'll put on the eye mask and I'll lay down because you can kind of catch up on it. But if you don't get enough sleep, the other thing that sleep does, while you're sleeping, you release something called human growth hormone. And what that does is it goes in there and it kind of helps build up your muscles and stuff like that. In fact, I'm a certified personal trainer. I tell my clients that a lot of people think that the muscles grown at the gym. It's not. The muscles are grown while you're sleeping. What happens is when you exercise, even if you're walking or doing anything, you're tearing tiny little muscle fibers in there. And what happens when you sleep, during sleep, you release human growth hormone. Human growth hormone goes in there and it starts repairing your muscles, legs, whatever. And the other thing it does is it releases testosterone, and testosterone also helps. Women also have testosterone, so it's not just men. Women have testosterone. So it gets your whole body back in cycle. It also helps up with the human growth hormone, helps build up your immune system. They've done studies that if you lack sleep, you're or get poor sleep, you're a lot more likely to come down with different diseases because your immune system is basically broken down. So these are all things that you can do to basically try to keep everything under control. This next part's going to sound really weird, but the other thing you want to do is you want to do what's called nose breathing as opposed to mouth breathing. And the reason for that is what happens when some people, what they call mouth breathers, where they breathe through their mouth a lot. So your nose is, you have something inside your nose called cilia. And actually they're alive, they're hairs that are alive, and they go back and forth. So when you breathe in dust and stuff like that, what happens, what the cilia does is it kicks the dust out, it kicks it out. So the cilia are alive and they go like that. But the other thing cilia does, when you breathe in oxygen, it activates the cilia to release something called nitric oxide. So what nitric oxide is, it's what they call a vasodilator. So your blood vessels will open up. You guys may have heard of nitroglycerin, in addition to the stuff that blows things up. If you have a heart attack, they inject you with nitroglycerin, which is basically a very strong form of nitric oxide. So nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. So while you're walking around and stuff like that, by breathing through your nose, you're cleaning out, you're keeping all of the crap. And the cilia not only covers your nose, it goes all the way down here, but most of it is up here. The other thing is what you have is a lot of what they call immunoglobulins in your body, and you have immunoglobulins are like they fight off pathogens, viruses, bacteria, and stuff. So what happens is you have in your mucus inside of your nose, you have something called IgA. That's an immunoglobulin that specifically fights against things that are coming into you, like you're breathing in viruses and stuff, which we breathe in all the time. So the IgA, that particular immunoglobulin, lines all through your nose. That's the reason why you want to be breathing in through your nose and not through your mouth. Think about it. You're breathing in through your mouth. You're not releasing any nitric oxide. There's really not much IgA down there. Everything is basically in your nose. So what happens is, I know, like I snore like crazy. I snore like a bear. My wife is always, yelling at me about that. There's a new thing people are doing now. It's called mouth taping, and I know it sounds crazy. You can email me, philgeorge@charter.net. So what I do at night, it's very specific. It's a very specific type of mouth tape you put over your mouth, so it closes your mouth, so you can't breathe through your mouth. So it forces you to breathe through your nose. And since I've been doing that, well, the other thing is your mouth, if you're breathing with your mouth's getting dried out, it's keeping your partner awake. So you can do this mouth taping, and I get it through Amazon, and it works pretty well. And I've been doing that, and that's helped my sleep too. The other thing is helping with your repair, because again, you're releasing the nitric oxide, you're cleaning everything out, and you're not breathing it through your mouth. The other thing, again, going back to the training, is when I train people, I have them a point where they don't exercise beyond the point where they have to stop breathing through their mouth, because again, you're taking in bad air, and you're not filtering it out. You're not filtering it out through your nose. So that's the reason why you want to be breathing. So if you're doing exercise and stuff, stop at the point to where you have to stop. We have to start breathing through your mouth. So again, the nasal breathing is so important. The other thing with mouth breathing is also you're drying out your mouth, and also you can wind up with some tooth decay, because again, you're bringing a lot of stuff in there, a lot of bacteria. By breathing through your nose is it just works out. Obviously a lot better. So again, feel free to email me, philgeorge@charter.net. And so we talked about, so you want to have a cool environment. You want to wear the blue blocking glasses several hours before you go to bed. Try not to get too too excited before you go to bed, because you're going to be releasing your cortisol. Don't eat within 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. The other thing, if that doesn't work, there's something called melatonin. You can get that. Again, you can feel free to email me, philgeorge@charter.net. I take a melatonin spray and I put it under my tongue. It's called sublingual. If it goes sublingual, it goes right into your bloodstream. See, it goes in a lot faster. So melatonin is something else you can do in terms of to help you sleep if you have trouble sleeping. The other thing that's helpful in terms of a lot of people I talk to, clients I talk to that have sleep problems, a lot of times they're running things through their head all the time in terms of what's going on, and they get excited, and it's hard to shut it off. So you probably heard the old expression. Oh, that was weird. What did you do, Art? Okay, something crashed. I don't know what happened. Okay, so I totally lost my train of thought. So what was I saying? So what happens is, again, you can take the melatonin. I have other sprays you can use. There's something called. Oh, it's Lucky. Hi, Lucky. So Lucky gave me 2 minutes. So I'm just gonna basically review. So again, don't eat 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Get your blue blocking glasses. If you're snoring, tape up your mouth. Again, email me, philgeorge@charter.net. You want a colder room. The other thing is with light. You're going to be really careful with light. In fact, I'm going to be buying. They have these red light things now, and also red light also increases vitamin D. It's the same as the sun, and I'm looking into doing that basically into doing the red light. And again, you can email me, philgeorge@charter.net, in terms of the red light, and there's other things. Red light does a ton of stuff. Red light also helps you to sleep, because think about it. The sun's red light, when it goes down, it's maximum amount of red light coming into your eyes, and a lot of people will do that. They'll also use red light to help them go to. Some people use like red light saunas. I do have a red light sauna that I do with that. So those are the hints. Feel free to email me, philgeorge@charter.net. I can send you a bunch of different supplements to take before you go to bed. Oh, the other one, brand new one, glycine, which is basically an amino acid. They found out, there was a study that if you take 3 grams of glycine before you go to bed, it also helps you sleep. Because somehow glycine, again, we talked before, you want your body temperature to be low when you go to sleep. Is that the glycine lowers your body temperature, so it gets you into a better stage of sleep. So 3 grams. Again, email me because not all glycine is the same. I can give you a good place to get glycine. Glycine is really good too. It's got a very sweet taste. It tastes kind of like it's called an isostereomer of fructose. So it tastes like fructose, but it doesn't raise your blood sugar. You can put in your coffee. I get bars for that. So if you're looking for a good sugar substitute, email me, philgeorge@charter.net. So I think Lucky's going to yell at me pretty soon because I'm running out of time. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget our seminar Sunday, the 29th, 184 West Boylston Street. Email me, philgeorge@charter.net. Get your email. If you show up, you get a good chance to win a prize. My friend Kelly will be there, ICU nurse, and we'll answer all your questions. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week. One of the most common questions I'm asked as a biochemist and health coach is what are the best supplements to take? Choosing supplements is a tricky business. Many companies have poor quality control and questionable ingredients. In the past, I had to send clients to several different websites. I am now able to offer one-stop shopping for all the quality brands I recommend with no shipping cost and a lower price in most cases. Just email me, philgeorge@charter.net for a free consult.